The icy water of Lake Tahoe hit me like a freight train. One second I'm holding my fishing rod, watching the sunrise paint the mountains gold, and the next, I'm drowning, because my own son's wife just shoved me off our boat. The shock wasn't just from the cold. It was seeing my boy Wayne standing there, doing absolutely nothing, while I thrashed in the water below. My name is Curtis Pierce. I'm 62 years old, been a widower for 2 years now, since Dorothy passed, and I own Pierce Maritime Holdings, worth about $240 million if you're keeping track. Used to think my biggest challenge was learning to live without my wife. Turns out I was wrong. The biggest challenge was discovering that my own family saw me as nothing more than a bank account with a heartbeat. But let me back up and tell you how this whole mess started, because what happened that Tuesday morning on Lake Tahoe changed everything I thought I knew about family. After Dorothy died, running the company became my whole world. Pierce Maritime wasn't some lucky inheritance. I built it from scratch after leaving the Navy, one shipping contract at a time, started with a single boat and a lot of determination. Back in '88, I was just another ex-sailor with big dreams and empty pockets. Dorothy believed in me when nobody else would. She worked double shifts as a nurse while I hustled for contracts, lived on ramen noodles and hope. The first 5 years nearly killed us both. I was working 16-hour days, sleeping in the office more nights than not. Dorothy would bring me dinner and sit with me while I went through shipping manifests and route calculations. She'd rub my shoulders when the stress got bad and remind me why we were building something together. "This isn't just for us, Curtis," she'd say. "This is for Wayne, so he'll never have to wonder where his next meal is coming from." By the time Wayne turned 10, we had 12 boats and 50 employees. By his high school graduation, we were running operations from San Francisco to Seattle, employing over 450 people. The kid grew up knowing the business would be his someday. Maybe that was my mistake, giving him everything without making him earn it first. Wayne went to Stanford on our dime, studied business like I wanted, even joined the company as VP when he graduated. But somewhere along the way, he lost sight of what Dorothy and I had built. To him, Pierce Maritime was just a trust fund with boats attached. The warning signs were there if I'd been paying attention. Wayne started avoiding family dinners after Dorothy's funeral. When we'd talk business, his eyes would glaze over like he was thinking about something else. Always checking his phone, always in a hurry to be somewhere else. I told myself it was grief. Losing his mother hit him hard, same as it hit me. Then came the phone calls from creditors. Seems Wayne had been gambling, not just weekend poker with college buddies, but serious money at underground clubs in San Francisco. High-stakes games where a bad night could cost you more than most people make in a year. By the time I found out, he was in for close to $800,000. I paid it off without saying a word. What else could I do? He was my son, my only child, the heir to everything Dorothy and I had sacrificed to build. I figured it was a phase, that marriage to Beverly would settle him down. Beverly came from old San Francisco money, the kind that looks down on guys like me who actually worked for their fortune. Her family made their wealth in shipping too, but 3 generations back, she had that polished look of someone who'd never worried about rent or groceries, never stayed up nights wondering if the bank would call the loans due. But she was smart, I'll give her that. Knew exactly what to say to make Wayne feel like a king and me feel like a relic. She'd smile at family dinners and ask all the right questions about the business, but I could see the calculation behind her eyes. She was counting. Assets, not building relationships. The real trouble started about 6 months ago. Wayne came to my office looking nervous, sweating even though the air conditioning was running full blast. Said he had some investment opportunities, needed to borrow against his future inheritance to get in on them. What kind of investments, I asked. He couldn't give me straight answers, just vague talk about cryptocurrency and overseas ventures. The kind of schemes that sound too good to be true because they usually are. I told him no, that if he wanted to invest company money, he needed to present a real business plan to the board. That's when things got ugly between us. Wayne started questioning every decision I made, challenging me in front of employees, making snide comments about old-fashioned thinking and resistance to change. Beverly was right there encouraging him, feeding his resentment like kindling on a fire. Looking back now, I can see they were setting me up. Every argument, every challenge to my authority was building a case that I was losing my grip, becoming a liability to the company I'd spent 35 years building. Then came that phone call last Tuesday morning. Wayne's voice was warmer than it had been in months, almost like the kid I used to take fishing when he was 12 years old. "Hey, Dad," he said. "I was thinking, maybe we could take the boat out to Tahoe this weekend, just like old times. You, me, and Beverly could use some family time." My chest actually tightened with hope. I thought maybe losing his mother had finally made him realize what mattered. Maybe the gambling and the arguments were just his way of grieving, and now he was ready to come home to family. God, I was such a fool. That Saturday morning, I drove up to our lake house feeling better than I had in months. The place sits right on the water in Tahoe Vista, a cabin Dorothy and I bought 15 years ago when the business really took off. She called it our someday house, someday when we retire, someday when we slow down, someday when we can just fish and watch the sunset together. Someday never came for Dorothy. Cancer took her before we got our retirement years, but I kept the place anyway. Couldn't bring myself to sell the dreams we'd built into those cedar walls. The boat was a beauty, 40-foot cabin cruiser I'd bought for retirement fishing trips with Dorothy. Wayne was already there when I arrived, loading gear with unusual efficiency. He actually looked happy to see me, gave me a real hug instead of that stiff handshake he'd been doing lately. Beverly stood on the dock, wearing designer everything. White jeans that probably cost more than my first boat payment. A silk blouse that screamed money. Sunglasses that could have been a down payment on a car. But she was smiling, actually seemed pleasant for once. "Curtis," she said, air kissing my cheek. "Thank you for inviting us. Wayne's been looking forward to this all week. Maybe I should have questioned why she was being so nice." Beverly had never hidden her opinion that I was beneath her social class, a working man who got lucky instead of someone born to wealth. But I wanted to believe my family was healing, that we could get past the grief and the arguments. We headed out early, the lake glass smooth and the morning calm. October in Tahoe is something special. Crisp air, mountains reflecting in water, so clear you can see bottom at 30 feet. Wayne handled the wheel like I'd taught him when he was a teenager, back when we actually enjoyed each other's company. I set up my gear near the stern, while Wayne found our usual spot about a mile offshore. For the first time in months, it actually felt like family again. We talked about the business, the upcoming quarterly reports, nothing heavy. Beverly even brought coffee in real mugs instead of paper cups, asked about my hip surgery from last month, seemed genuinely interested in my recovery. "How's the physical therapy going?" she asked, settling into the chair next to mine. "Coming along," I said, adjusting my tackle box. "Doctor says I should be back to normal in another month or two." "That's wonderful. Wayne was so worried after your fall." I should have caught the way she said fall, like she was testing how well I remembered the details. But I was focused on rigging my line, enjoying the peaceful morning, and the illusion that my family still cared about me. We fished for about an hour, talking about nothing important. Wayne even asked my advice about some client contracts, the first time he'd shown any interest in actually learning the business instead of just inheriting it. I started thinking maybe the gambling was behind us. Maybe marriage really had settled him down. I was adjusting my tackle box when I heard Beverly's heels clicking on the deck behind me. Strange sound for a fishing boat. Most people wear deck shoes or sneakers for better grip, but Beverly always dressed like she was posing for a magazine, even on family outings. "Beautiful morning, isn't it, Curtis?" she said, moving closer than she usually did. Her voice had this strange tone, almost like she was saying goodbye to someone she'd never see again. "Sure is," I replied, not looking up from my reel. The drag was sticking a little, probably needed oil. Dorothy always loved mornings like this. Said the mountains looked like God's cathedral, reflecting in the water. That's when I felt her hands on my back. Not a gentle touch, not a pat of affection. Hard, deliberate pressure right between my shoulder blades. My hip, still tender from surgery, screamed as I pitched forward. The tackle box went flying, my hat sailed off, and then cold water swallowed me whole. The shock drove every bit of air from my lungs. Lake Tahoe in October is no joke. That water was maybe 50 degrees, cold enough to stop your heart if you're not ready for it. My boots filled immediately, dragging me down like anchors. My clothes soaked through in seconds, adding weight I couldn't afford. When I finally surfaced, gasping and choking, I looked back at the boat maybe 20 feet away. Wayne was standing at the rail, but he wasn't panicking, wasn't throwing me a line, wasn't calling for help, wasn't even reaching for the radio. just watching with this expression I'd never seen before on my son's face. Relief. Like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders, like a problem had just solved itself. Beverly was smoothing down her hair, checking her manicured nails, acting like nothing had happened, like pushing your father-in-law into a freezing lake was just another Tuesday morning activity. "Wayne," I gasped, treading water. "Help me." He looked at Beverly, then back at me. For a split second, I saw something flicker across his face. Maybe guilt, maybe second thoughts. But then Beverly said something I couldn't hear over the water in my ears, and his expression went cold again. That's when it hit me harder than the water. This wasn't an accident. My son wanted me gone. They'd planned this, brought me out here specifically to kill me and make it look like a fishing accident. The old man fell overboard, hit his head, drowned in the lake. Tragic but believable, and very, very convenient for two people who stood to inherit $240 million. I'm not a young man anymore, but the Navy taught me how to survive in water. I forced myself to stay calm, conserve energy, float on my back when I could. But that water was cold enough to kill, and I could feel my body starting to shut down. My fingers were going numb. My legs felt like lead weights. I watched our boat motor away, leaving me to drown in one of the deepest lakes in America. They didn't even look back, just headed toward shore like they were coming home from a normal fishing trip, probably already rehearsing their story about Dad's tragic accident. My strength was giving out when I heard an engine. A beat-up fishing boat rounded the point, maybe 200 yards away. At the wheel was a weathered guy in his 60s wearing a faded Coast Guard cap. Beside him, a skinny teenager was pointing in my direction. "Damn! Hold on, mister!" the older man shouted, gunning his engine toward me. His grandson threw me a rope, and somehow I managed to grab it with frozen fingers. They hauled me into their boat like a half-drowned fish, water streaming from my clothes onto their deck. The older man wrapped a wool blanket around me while I coughed up lake water. "Name's Barry Vernon," he said, studying me with sharp gray eyes. "This is my grandson Keith. We were after some early morning trout, not rescuing drowning businessmen in fancy clothes." My teeth were chattering so hard I could barely talk. It wasn't an accident, I managed between gulps of air. My family, they tried to kill me. Keith's eyes went wide, but Barry just nodded like he'd seen plenty of trouble in his 67 years. "That's a heavy accusation," he said quietly. "You sure about that?" "I'm sure. They pushed me in and left me to die." Barry was quiet for a long moment, engine puttering while he thought it over. Finally, he looked at me with the kind of expression you get from someone who understands that sometimes the right thing isn't the legal thing. "Tell you what," he said, "sometimes doing what's right means doing it the wrong way first. You want to stay dead for now? That's your business. But you better tell me the whole story." Wrapped in that scratchy blanket, watching the sun climb over the mountains, I felt something I hadn't felt since Dorothy died: clarity. Wayne and Beverly thought I was fish food at the bottom of Lake Tahoe. Let them think that. Because while they were planning my funeral, I'd be planning something else entirely. Barry took me to his cabin about 20 miles up the lake. Simple place. One bedroom, a kitchen that smelled like coffee and bacon, walls covered with old fishing photos. His wife had died 3 years back, he told me. Knew what it was like to lose your anchor in life. "You got somewhere safe to stay while you figure this out?" he asked. "I've got a house in Marin County, but they'll be watching it. You can stay here long as you need. Keith and I fish most mornings anyway. Nobody bothers us." For 3 days, I stayed hidden while Barry's grandson kept tabs on local news. Sure enough, there it was on Wednesday evening. Prominent business owner missing after fishing accident on Lake Tahoe. They had search boats out, divers, the whole show. Wayne gave a tearful interview about losing his beloved father so soon after losing his mother. The acting was Oscar-worthy. A week later, wrapped in a borrowed black suit, I stood behind an oak tree at Woodlawn Cemetery, watching my own memorial service. Quite a turnout. Business associates, old Navy buddies, neighbors from the lake house. The casket was beautiful, probably cost more than most people make in 6 months. Empty, but beautiful. Wayne stood at the podium giving a speech that would have made Shakespeare proud, talking about his father's legacy, his dedication to family, how much he'd be missed. Beverly sat in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a silk handkerchief, playing the grieving daughter-in-law for the cameras. The whole time I'm standing there thinking, what kind of people can cry crocodile tears over an empty box while planning to spend their victim's money? After the service, I watched them shake hands with mourners, accepting condolences with just the right amount of composed grief. Wayne even hugged Dorothy's sister, told her how much Dad would have appreciated her being there. That night, Barry drove me back to my house in Marin County. The neighborhood was dark, most folks already asleep. I still had my keys. Wayne never asked for them back. Why would he? As far as he knew, Dad was sleeping with the fishes. Walking into my own house felt like entering a crime scene. The furniture was covered with sheets, but underneath I could see changes. New leather couches, a massive entertainment system, expensive art I'd never seen before. They'd been redecorating while planning my murder, spending money they didn't have on things they wouldn't need once I was gone. In my study, spread across the desk like evidence at a trial, I found what I was looking for. A thick folder labeled Project Curtis sat right on top of the pile. Inside were dozens of papers, medical reports claiming I had dementia, signed statements about my declining mental state, even a psychiatric evaluation from a doctor I'd never met. Every page was a lie. Every signature was forged. They'd been building a case to declare me incompetent, probably planning to have me committed before they realized murder was quicker and cleaner. But then I heard something that made my blood turn to ice. A baby crying upstairs. Wayne and Beverly never wanted kids. Always said careers came first, maybe someday when they were established. Beverly used to make jokes about how children would ruin her, figure, and cramp their social life. So, whose baby was crying in my house at midnight? I climbed the stairs like I was walking through a nightmare, every step creaking under my weight. The crying got louder as I approached the guest room Beverly always complained about. She used to say it smelled musty, like old memories. The door was cracked open, and inside was something impossible. A complete nursery. The wallpaper had been stripped and replaced with soft blue clouds. A white crib sat against the far wall, surrounded by expensive baby furniture, toys still in their packaging, everything you'd need for a newborn. And in that crib was a baby, maybe 3 weeks old, crying like his heart was broken. My knees almost buckled. Where did this child come from? Beverly had been skinny as a rail on the boat just a week ago. She hadn't given birth. So, how was there suddenly a baby in my house? Car doors slammed outside. Wayne and Beverly were home early. I grabbed the disposable camera Barry had given me, snapped a few quick photos of the nursery and the papers on my desk, then got the hell out through the back door. Barry was waiting in his truck at the corner, engine running. I tumbled in, breathing hard. "There's a baby!" I gasped. "In the house, a newborn." His eyebrows shot up. "A baby? Whose?" "I don't know, but it's not theirs." The next morning, Barry introduced me to someone he trusted, Sandra Mitchell, a private investigator with steel gray hair and the kind of steady voice that made you believe every word she said. I told her everything, showed her the photos, explained about the forged medical records. When I mentioned the baby, her expression went cold as winter. "I know a setup that fits this pattern," she said. "Private clinic outside Reno. They handle surrogacy arrangements, expensive, discreet, and sometimes deadly." Sandra came back 3 days later with answers that made me sick to my stomach. The baby had been born 3 weeks ago at an unlicensed clinic across the Nevada border. His mother was Ruth Rivera, a 17-year-old runaway from Las Vegas. Ruth died during delivery, officially from cardiac arrest, but Sandra called it convenient timing for everyone except the girl. Looking at Ruth's picture, this young kid with a shy smile and her whole life ahead of her, I felt rage like I hadn't felt since combat. Wayne and Beverly weren't just thieves trying to steal my company. They were killers who'd murdered a teenage girl for her baby. But Sandra dug deeper and found the real mastermind behind everything. Roger Walsh, a high-end estate attorney in San Francisco. On paper, Walsh was respectable. Expensive suits, glowing client reviews, wealthy families praising his smooth guidance through difficult transitions. The reality was uglier. Sandra had traced at least 15 suspicious deaths of wealthy clients over the past 5 years. Widows and widowers who slipped and fell or became confused and wandered off, always right when they're heirs, were getting impatient for inheritance money. "He's not just a lawyer," Sandra explained, spreading photos across Barry's kitchen table. "He's running an inheritance acceleration service. finds greedy relatives, manufactures evidence of mental decline, then clears the inheritance path permanently. One photo showed Walsh leaving the same clinic where Ruth Rivera died. According to witnesses, he'd personally overseen the birth. The baby lived, Ruth didn't, and suddenly Wayne and Beverly had their perfect cover story. The devoted son caring for his aging father and new grandchild. Walsh thinks you're dead, Sandra said. He's already pushing your estate through probate court. Within 2 weeks, everything will be in Wayne and Beverly's hands, and that child will be their ticket to respectability. I clenched my fists until my knuckles went white. Then he doesn't know me very well. If Walsh is the spider in this web, I'm walking straight into it, and I'm going to tear the whole damn thing apart. Sandra hated the plan. Barry called it suicide, but we all knew it was the only way to get Walsh. He was too careful, too protected by money and connections. The only way to trap him was to make him think I was desperate and broken. So, we set up the confrontation in my own living room. Hidden recording devices went into every corner. Tiny cameras, voice recorders, equipment the FBI had provided through Sandra's contacts. Federal agents waited in unmarked cars around the block, ready to move when the time came. I positioned myself in my old leather chair, the same one where I used to read bedtime stories to Wayne when he was little. Seemed fitting that this would end where so many good memories had started. At exactly 7 p.m., the front door opened. Wayne stepped inside, and his keys hit the floor when he saw me sitting there alive. The color drained from his face like someone had pulled a plug. Beverly's scream could have shattered windows, raw and sharp, like she was staring at a ghost risen from the grave. "Hello, son," I said quietly. "Miss me?" Before either could answer, another figure walked through my door like he owned the place. Roger Walsh looked exactly like Sandra had described. Expensive suit, cold eyes, the kind of confidence that comes from never getting caught. "Well," Walsh said smoothly, setting his briefcase on my coffee table, "the man who refuses to stay dead. This is going to be more expensive than I calculated." That's when the windows exploded inward and FBI agents poured through every entrance like they were storming a beach. The recording devices had captured everything we needed. Walsh's network was finished. Wayne and Beverly were going to prison, and justice was finally coming for a 17-year-old girl named Ruth Rivera. But the most important victory was still ahead, gaining custody of baby Lloyd and building a real family from the ashes of betrayal. Family isn't the name on your birth certificate. Family is who stands with you when the current tries to pull you under, and who chooses to build something better from the wreckage of betrayal. Real wealth isn't what you leave behind in bank accounts. It's what you build in the hearts of people who will carry your values forward long after you're gone.